Venerable Bhaddiya Kāḷigodhāputta. Today, we meet a monk whose very birth was extraordinary, not because of power or wealth, but because of a wish made long before the Buddha walked this earth, and the Buddha himself declared him foremost among the noble born. Let's understand why.
Imagine a young man born into unimaginable privilege. His mother, the chief queen of the Sakyans, the very clan of the Buddha. His lineage, among the highest in all of Kapilavatthu, grandson of King Sihahanu, nephew of King Suddhodana. Yet, he chose to walk away not from weakness, but from clarity. Not out of despair, but from deep longing. He left behind palaces, armies, and the throne's weight for something no crown could bestow. True peace, and he found it, not after years of struggle, but within his very first reign's retreat as a monk. But how? To understand Bhaddiya, the glad one, we must go back, far back, to a time when the world still hummed with the echoes of another Buddha's footsteps, and a young prince named Bhaddiya, born of royal blood, yet restless in spirit, heard the call that would change everything. He left the kingship not to Mahanama as his brother, but to Mahanama, his cousin, son of Isipatana, like himself, and heir to the Sakyan throne after the passing of their uncle, King Suddhodana. Anuruddha too was Isipatana's son, making him Bhaddiya's cousin, not brother. In that sacred moment of renunciation, Bhaddiya did not flee the world, he stepped into it fully, with eyes open to suffering and heart open to liberation, and in the quiet of his first vasa, under the shelter of the rain-soaked forest, he awakened, not through austerity, nor debate, but through the simple profound act of seeing things as they are. Thus began the story of one who traded a crown for a robe, and found in its folds the light of enlightenment.
In the era of Padumuttara Buddha, Bhaddiya was born the son of a wealthy family. One day, he attended a Dhamma talk and witnessed something that changed his life forever. The Buddha appointed a monk as foremost among the noble born. That moment lit a fire in his heart.
He didn't merely admire the monastic life. He aspired for it with unwavering clarity, deep sincerity, and full understanding. In a past life, during the time of Padumuttara Buddha, he was a nobleman. One day, he saw the Blessed One declare a monk, "This one is foremost among the noble born who have gone forth." His heart stirred, not with envy, but with a vow born of wisdom. May I in the future, when a Buddha arises, be recognized as foremost among those who renounce royalty for the Dhamma. To fulfill this aspiration, he cultivated merit with deliberate, joyful generosity. He invited Padumuttara Buddha and the entire Sangha to his home and offered alms for 7 full days, serving with reverence, humility, and joy. On the 7th day, standing before the Blessed One, he prostrated and spoke his wish, not for wealth, power, or heavenly rebirth, but for a spiritual destiny. "Venerable Sir, may I in the future dispensation of a Buddha, whenever he arises, be declared foremost among the noble born who go forth." Padumuttara Buddha smiled and prophesied, "Your aspiration is pure. It shall be fulfilled in the time of a Buddha who will be known as Gautama, many eons from now." Note, the Buddha's naming here is part of the prophetic revelation. Padumuttara, as a fully enlightened Buddha, knew the future name through his Sakyan, knowledge of truth, even if the aspirant did not. This is standard in Isipatana narratives. The Buddha reveals what will be, not what the layperson knows. So this phrasing is acceptable, but only as the Buddha's declaration, not the aspirant's knowledge. That vow, rooted not in tanda, craving, but in chanda, wise desire, sankapo, right intention, and punya, became his compass across lifetimes. And so when the time ripened, Bhadawank, let date the Sakyan prince, cousin to Anuruddha and Mahanama, walked out of Kapilavatthu, robes in hand, and entered the Sangha, not out of rejection, but fulfillment, not from emptiness, but from a vow made long ago, now ripening in perfect timing. This is why we must never confuse renunciation with denial. Without wise aspiration, without the desire to awaken, there would be no Buddhas, no Sangha, no Dhamma at all. The path begins not in the absence of desire, but in the transformation of desire from clinging to liberation.
Want to check the source? Bhaddiya's story comes from the ancient Abhidhamma and Theragatha commentary, part of the Pali Canon's trusted commentaries. It's also mentioned in the Buddhavamsa commentary and Visuddhimagga. The Buddha himself declared him foremost among the noble born, recorded in the Anguttara commentary, though not in the suttas themselves, which is normal for Etadagga titles. Imagine this. After Kassapa Buddha passed away, the world didn't just wait. The earth itself changed. You might ask, how many years were between Kassapa and Gautama? But the old teachers said something surprising. We don't measure it in years. We measure it in earth, in how much the land rises or falls. Think of it like this. In Kasapa's time, there were mountains so tall, 16 kilometers high, they touched the sky. Over unimaginable time, rain fell, wind blew, rivers carved, and slowly, very slowly, those giants wore down. What was once a peak became flat, gentle land, 16 kilometers lower than before. That's the gap between Buddhas. Not 500 years or 1 million years, but the time it takes for the earth to reshape itself until it's soft enough for kindness to grow, stable enough for wisdom to be heard. And when the earth rises another 16 kilometers from our time, that's when Metteyya Buddha will come, not because a clock says go, but because the world is finally ready. So, no number, no calendar. Buddhas arise when the planet is ripe. Now back to Bhaddiya. Long before this earth reshaped itself, he made a vow. May I be born where Dhamma still breathes, where the heart can awaken. From that day on, he lived with purpose, not chasing rewards, but planting seeds for awakening. He built simple seats for Dhamma talks, laid clean mats for teachers and monks, supported hospitals, teaching halls, rest houses, not to earn heaven, not to bargain with fate, but because he knew, to meet a Buddha, you must be born where kindness is practiced, where the path is still walkable. After he passed away, life continued, rebirth after rebirth, always guided by that same quiet wish. And finally, in our time, long after Kassapa Buddha, the third Buddha who walked this very earth, had passed away, but before Gautama Buddha, our Buddha, appeared, he was reborn in Varanasi, son of a prosperous family, and still, deep down, waiting. The earth had fallen 16 kilometers. The Dhamma was quiet, and he stepped forward.
One morning, he walked by the Ganges and saw something miraculous. A group of Pechaka Buddhas, silent, radiant, self-awakened ones, had descended from Mount Gandhamadana to eat their alms. They gathered at the riverbank, but there was no proper place to sit. Without hesitation, the young man ran home, brought stone slabs and carefully laid them down, one by one, as a clean, dignified platform. Then he served them humbly, joyfully, for the rest of his life. That act of service, that quiet devotion, was the final seed that ripened into 500 royal lifetimes, each one a king, each one still searching, until finally, in his last birth, he met the Buddha. He ordained alongside 5 other Sakyan princes, including Anuruddha at Anupiya in the Ambavana Grove, as the Buddha returned toward Rajagaha. Though they entered the Sangha together, Bhaddiya attained arahantship first within just one rainy season, a remarkable speed, proof of how deeply his past punna had matured. But here's what moved even the most seasoned monks. After liberation, Bhaddiya lived simply in forests, under trees, in quiet huts, and often he would sit quietly and whisper again and again, "Aho Sukham, Aho Sukham, oh what bliss, oh what bliss." Some monks heard this and worried. Is he missing the palace? Is he unhappy in the robes? They went to the Buddha, so the Buddha called Bhaddiya and asked gently, "Why do you say this?" And Bhaddiya replied, not with pride but with deep honesty, "Venerable sir, when I was king, I slept in golden chambers, guarded by hundreds of soldiers, yet my mind trembled, my hair stood on end, fear followed me everywhere, even in silence. But now, alone beneath a tree, no guards, no throne, I dwell in profound peace, free from fear, free from worry. This is why I say, oh what bliss, because the holy life gives a peace no kingdom ever could."
Hearing Bhaddiya's words, simple, humble, yet radiant with liberation, the Buddha did not merely nod. He spoke a verse, not just for Bhaddiya, but for every monk listening, for every heart still searching, the mind of one who has no anger, who has crossed over many states of becoming. Even the Devas cannot fathom the heart of such a one who is free from fear, filled only with peace, free from sorrow. Viragatha, this was not praise alone, it was an invitation. See this. This is possible. This is your potential. And later, at Jeta's Grove, before the full Sangha, the Buddha formally declared, "Bhaddiya, son of Kāḷigodhā, is foremost among my disciples in being noble born." Now, did the Buddha need to ask? No. He knew Bhaddiya's past lives. He knew the vow made before Padumuttara Buddha. He knew the exact moment of his awakening. But he chose to invite Bhaddiya to speak, because liberation is not given, it is recognized. Because when one shares their path openly, others see, if he could do it, so can I. The Buddha didn't hide his knowledge. He used it to light the way for all. And so the wish made long ago, across mountains worn down, across lifetimes of punya, was fulfilled, not as a reward, but as a reminder. The path is open, the door is unlocked. All that's needed is the courage to walk through, as Bhaddiya did.
His story isn't about privilege, it's about transformation. It shows us, noble birth means nothing unless the heart is noble. True nobility, it's not inherited, it's earned through generosity, wisdom, and the courage to let go. Bhaddiya didn't need a crown to be great. He needed only one thing, the willingness to trade a palace for peace. And in that choice, he found the greatest honor of all. He lived fully in accordance with the Dhamma. He taught not by grand sermons, but by presence, by stillness, by the quiet confidence of one who had seen through craving. And when his time came, he passed away in perfect peace, parinibbana, while the Buddha was still alive, in Savatthi at Jetavana. May we remember, the deepest happiness isn't found in getting what we want, but in releasing the wanting itself. That is the bliss Bhaddiya discovered, and it's available to anyone who walks the path with a clear heart and steady steps. Bhaddiya Kāḻigodhāputta Thera, foremost among the noble born, concluded.